Hello there, I'm Nadia Azmi and this is Nightline. Here are the top stories. JPMorganChase to pay 1.4 billion ringgit to Malaysian government as part of 1MDB settlement. And RMAF fighter jet crash, Hornet fleet temporarily grounded pending probe. Good morning. The Malaysian government and JPMorganChase have reached a final settlement concerning all matters related to the One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB scandal. Under the settlement, the International Investment Bank, without admission of liability, will contribute 1.4 billion ringgit to Malaysia's Asset Recovery Trust account. In a statement on Friday, the Finance Ministry explained that the agreement resolves all existing and potential claims and binds both parties from any future claims or litigations related to 1MDB. The ministry added that each party will also withdraw all pending appeals connected with the lawsuit previously filed by 1MDB against JP Morgan Switzerland Limited at the Kuala Lumpur High Court. The Royal Malaysian Air Force has temporarily grounded its fleet of FA-18D Hornet fighter jets following a crash involving one of the aircraft in Kuantan, Pahang on Thursday night. RMAF Chief General Datuk Seri Muhammad Nur Azlan Aris said the decision will remain in effect pending the outcome of an investigation into the cause of the incident. At the same time, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has called for the investigation report to be presented to the Cabinet. The RMAF aircraft caught fire and crashed during takeoff at Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Airport, which shares its runway and facilities with the Kuantan Air Base. The incident occurred at around 9:05 p.m. during a routine night flying exercise. A video that went viral on social media shows the aircraft speeding down the runway before its engine exploded during takeoff. Following the incident, rescue teams and ambulances were seen rushing to the scene. The incident also shocked nearby residents who reported hearing loud explosions and seeing flames at the airbase.
Bunyi dia kuat sekali lah, tapi memang kuat daripada yang biasa kita orang dengar lah. Ingat benda apa, tengah latihan ke apa.
The pilot, 34-year-old Major Muhammad Azhar Alang Kamaruddin, and the weapons system officer, 28-year-old Captain Muhammad Izzuddin Muhammad Saleh, managed to eject safely and deploy the parachutes. The two officers suffered minor injuries and were taken to Tunku Ampuan Afzan Hospital for further checks. Both men were discharged on Friday morning and are now continuing their recovery at the Armed Forces Hospital on the airbase. As a result of the incident, the airport runway was temporarily closed for cleanup and safety operations and has now resumed normal operations. Meanwhile, while chairing Friday's cabinet meeting, Anwar was briefed by Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin on the latest updates regarding the RMAF Hornet fighter jet crash. According to Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fadil, the Prime Minister also requested that the Defence Ministry ensure national security is not compromised. Earlier, in a social media post, Anwar instructed the authorities to conduct a thorough investigation into the accident and to ensure that appropriate safety measures are implemented. He also conveyed his sympathy to the two servicemen injured in the crash and prayed for their speedy recovery. The RMAF Chief, while inspecting the crash site in Kuantan on Friday, confirmed that the aircraft was completely destroyed. Nur Azlan said a newly formed board of inquiry has begun its investigation into the incident and that the investigators appointed to the board are required to submit an initial finding within 14 days. According to Nur Azlan, the exact cause of the incident, whether engine failure, a bird strike or foreign object debris, has not yet been determined.
Pesawat ni dilengkapi dengan sistem yang boleh macam black box. Dia get data collector dia. So once we get the data collector tu, kita akan tengok playback, kita akan tengok apakah kemungkinan punca-punca kemalangan tersebut.
He added that the aircraft was in good condition, having undergone a full maintenance overhaul after 12 years of service, which was completed in April last year. He also noted that both officers from the 8th Squadron based in Butterworth, Pulau Pinang, are experienced pilots. Bukit Aman has seized 6.64 billion ringgit in assets linked to the alleged MBI International Group investment fraud under Op Northern Star in an ongoing investigation into the scheme. Inspector General of Police Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Ismail said 6 individuals, including 3 businessmen with the titles Datuk Seri and Datuk, were arrested in the latest round of raids, which began on July 26. According to Khalid, the 3 businessmen are associated with companies listed on Bursa Malaysia.
Mereka ini adalah proksi-proksi yang menerima wang daripada luar, dan apabila wang ini diterima dalam jumlah yang besar, digunakan untuk tujuan-tujuan lain, ibarat seperti kata kita untuk pembersihan wang itu. Jadi wang itu dilaburkan dalam bidang-bidang harta tanah, pembelian juga tanah-tanah untuk kebun dan sebagainya.
Police also froze 8 bank accounts holding 10.53 million ringgit, as well as shares worth over 86.85 million ringgit, and seized 300,600 ringgit in cash. In addition, 7 luxury vehicles, 5 luxury watches, 2 branded handbags, 6 mobile phones, and various company documents were also confiscated. Earlier operations in March and April had already resulted in the seizure of 3.51 billion ringgit and the arrest of 13 suspects, including a Tan Sri, a Datuk Sri, and 3 Datuks. On another matter, Khalid stressed that the police will take disciplinary action against the investigating officer and their supervisor if procedural breaches are confirmed in the probe into Zara Khairina Mahathir's death. The top cop said investigators are being led by Bukit Aman's Integrity and Standards Compliance Department alongside a task force established specifically for the case.
Beberapa tindakan kita perlu kaji dari sudut tata tertib, dan kita pun telah minta supaya pengarah JIP mengambil tindakan-tindakan yang perlu sejauh mana berlakunya pelanggaran.
It was previously reported that the task force had identified several lapses, including the investigating officer's failure to apply for a post-mortem during the initial investigation. On a related matter, Khalid highlighted that the spread of false information on social media creates a false impression of ongoing cases. He explained that such actions could compromise police investigations, including the probe into Zara Khairina's death. The 13-year-old student was found unconscious in a drain near her school hostel at around 4 a.m. on July 16th and was later pronounced dead at Queen Elizabeth I Hospital the following day. On Thursday, a teacher was charged at the Kota Kinabalu Magistrates Court for spreading unverified information on social media regarding the incident. At the same media conference, Khalid also revealed that the phone number used to send threats to the wife of former Economy Minister Datuk Seri Rafizi Ramli was registered under a foreign national.
Ini yang masalah kita ni kan, kebanyakan handphone yang digunakan adalah handphone yang kadang-kadang didaftarkan di atas nama orang lain ataupun nama warga negara asing. Setakat ini kita masih lagi dalam siasatan lah.
He added that the police were still awaiting a chemistry report from the hospital on the substance allegedly injected into Rafizi's son. The 12-year-old child is reported to be in stable condition and continues to be monitored by medical officers. On August 13th, the boy was dragged and jabbed with a syringe at a shopping mall in Putrajaya. CCTV footage showed that 2 unidentified men had followed his wife's car on a motorcycle prior to the incident. UMNO Youth Chief Datuk Dr. Muhammad Akumal Salifi pleaded not guilty at the Bukit Mertaja Magistrates Court on Friday to a charge of making a statement likely to cause public fear linked to the display of the national flag in Kepala Batas last week. The Merlimau State Assemblyman entered the plea before Magistrate Nurul Rashidah Muhammad Akid. He allegedly made the statement in a social media post at 3 p.m. on August 11th. The charge under the Penal Code carries a maximum penalty of 2 years imprisonment, a fine or both if convicted. The court allowed bail of 5,000 ringgit with one surety and fixed September 22nd for case mention. Selangor police have seized drugs worth 7 million ringgit from a car involved in a road crash in SS17 Subang Jaya on August 13th. District Police Chief ACP 1 Azlan 1 Mamat said the seizure was made after they received a call from the public about the accident. One Azlan said officers who arrived at the scene found the car abandoned. Checks on the vehicle uncovered at least 11 sacks containing 208 plastic packages of shabu weighing about 220 kilograms. Police are now seeking a man whose identity card was found in the car, identified as 32-year-old Muhammad Rahmat Hanafi from Rantau Panjang, Kelantan, to assist in the investigation. The suspect has a record of 15 prior criminal and drug-related offences, while the car was found to be carrying a false registration number. Preliminary investigations also indicate the suspect is still in the country. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Malaysia recorded 190.3 billion ringgit in approved investments in the first half of this year. This marks an 18.7% increase compared to the same period last year, reflecting investors' continued confidence in the country's economic prospects. The Malaysian Investment Development Authority MIDA said 3,011 approved projects in the manufacturing, services and primary sectors in the first half are expected to create 89,294 jobs. Foreign investment also surged 43.5%, propelled by strong growth in all three sectors. The services sector soared 100.7%, while manufacturing and primary jumped 12.1% and 57.4% respectively. Singapore remained the largest source of investment, followed by China, the United States, the British Virgin Islands and Italy. Domestically, Johor registered the highest value of approved investments, followed by Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Pulau Pinang and Sabah. Bank Negara Malaysia's international reserves rose to $122 billion, up from $121.3 billion recorded on July 31st. In a statement on Friday, the BNM said the reserves position is sufficient to finance 4.8 months of imports of goods and services and is equivalent to 0.9 times the total short-term external debt. The largest portion of the reserves is foreign currency at $108.4 billion, followed by the International Monetary Fund reserve position, special drawing rights and gold. Meanwhile, total assets amounted to 605.67 billion ringgit, comprising gold, foreign exchange and other reserves. China, the world's dominant rare earth supplier, on Friday issued new measures to regulate the mining, smelting and separation of the critical minerals, a key to energy transition, further tightening its grip over supply. Beijing already manages the sector through a quota system, but the new rules will now extend to imported raw materials as well, following a public consultation that began in February. Analysts said the move signals a deeper supply squeeze, sparking concern among companies that fear losing access to feedstock. China has grown increasingly sensitive about its control of rare earths, adding items and magnets to its export restriction list in April in retaliation for U.S. tariff hikes. Last month, it quietly issued its first 2025 quotas without its usual public announcement.
An often misunderstood but economically vital sector. We uncovered the truth behind Malaysia's debt collection industry. How does this sector fit into Malaysia's financial ecosystem? The challenges it faces and where is it headed in the digital age? Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan speaks with Zabah Hasrin, president of the Association of Professional Debt Collection Agency. Only on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tuntun.
Teens found guilty of murdering fellow student. More from the local front when we come back.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Masuk hutan, selam lautan dan tinjau wildlife beraksi dalam Arabian Seas. Africa's Hunters musim pertama. Chasing the Rains. Africa's Hunters musim kedua. Alien Abyss. Layan Animal Documentary di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Saya kena cari seseorang untuk ke parti tu. Dah lama tak nampak awak, Cik Yu.
Dah beberapa kali dah jadi.
Dari tadi awak asyik pandang saya je.
Saya nak awak hadir satu temu juga sebagai mak Anya.
Selamat datang ke rumah Anya. Tak boleh dimaafkan. Jangan lari.
Inilah misi Spy X Family, kini dalam versi bahasa Melayu. Setiap Ahad 11 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Juara! Anugerah juara lagu ke-13.
Alah, tengah sedap tergantung pula. Sabar jap, biar abang yang settlekan bil Tonton.
Tak perlu overthinking, just keep watching. Lagi mudah bayar bil Tonton terus melalui bil telefon. Pilih telco kegemaran, bayar dan sambung layan sampai tak berhenti.
Nightline continues. More than 10 motorcycle accidents, including 3 fatalities, were reported in Turanganu and Pahang on Friday. The separate incidents involved participants of the RXZ Members 7.0 gathering who were travelling in large convoys to Gong Pada near Kuala Turanganu to attend the massive biking event taking place from Friday to Saturday. In one incident at noon, 29-year-old Haris Fahmi Shaizurin Amin died from severe head injuries after crashing just before the Bukit Besi R&R exit in Dungun. His motorcycle is believed to have grazed another machine, causing his bike to overturn before being thrown onto the road. He was pronounced dead at the scene and his body was sent to the Dungun Hospital's forensic unit. The second fatal accident involved 34-year-old nurse Roslina Wati Ramli, who was part of a convoy from Simpang Renggam, Johor. She is believed to have lost control of her motorcycle, which skidded and crashed in Hulu Terengganu also around noon. Her body was sent to the Hulu Terengganu Hospital for a post-mortem. Earlier in Pahang, 33-year-old Muhammad Shukri Shahruddin from Rembau Negeri Sembilan was also killed when his bike skidded off the road in Bura while travelling to the gathering at 6:30 a.m. Shukri, who was among the lead riders in a convoy of about 60 motorcycles, sustained severe head and hand injuries and died on the spot. His remains were taken to the forensic unit of the Bura Hospital. Police are currently investigating the incidents and have warned that stern action will be taken against those found riding recklessly. A lorry attendant was charged at the Seremban Magistrates Court on Friday with drunk driving and causing the death of a police officer. 27-year-old K. Kelvin, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge before Magistrate Nurul Farha Sulaiman. The accused is alleged to have driven with a blood alcohol content exceeding the legal limit, which led to the death of Constable Naim Mullah Afandi. The incident occurred on Jalan Temiang at about 1:25 a.m. on Monday, August 18th. It was reported that the victim from Jalan Kampol Police Station was killed after his motorcycle was rammed by a car driven by a man believed to be under the influence of alcohol. The court granted Kelvin bail of 5,000 ringgit, with the case set for mention on October 16th. In Sabah, 13 teenagers aged between 16 and 19 were found guilty on Friday of murdering a fellow student, Muhammad Nazmi Aizat Muhammad Narul Azwan, at the Lahad Datu Vocational College in March last year. The verdict was delivered by Tawau High Court Judge Datuk Duncan Sikodol, who set August 28th for sentencing. The judge said the prosecution had proven beyond reasonable doubt that all 13 accused acted together with the intention of causing Nazmi's death. Duncan also said the defence's argument that the group only intended to teach the victim a lesson was baseless, as evidence showed the injuries were severe enough to cause death. The court added that the argument of provocation was also not applicable because the attack was prolonged and repeated, not a spontaneous reaction. The 13 students were charged in April last year with jointly murdering Nazmi at their college dormitory between March 21st and 22nd last year. The offence under the Penal Code provides the death penalty or up to 40 years imprisonment with a maximum of 12 strokes of the rotan upon conviction. UN declares famine in Gaza. The details after this short break.
Perasaan memang sedih lah sebabnya inilah pertama kali anak sakit yang seteruk macam ni. Sebabnya satu, bila doktor cakap penyakit ni jarang jumpa, lepas tu macam ubat dia apa, dah tak ada saya macam ni, saya terima lah.
Lelaki itu lemah. Saya ada jin itu. Boleh tunaikan unlimited rewards. Ingatkan lelaki jin tak cukup satu.
Lagi layan dengan tontonan rewards non-stop. Nak ni, nak tu, semua untuk korang. Langgan tonton RM9.90 je. Baru puas.
Juara Cat Fashion Week TV3 Evian! Miau miau, miau miau, yeay! Si gebu-gebas berbakar ragdoll ni kini memegang tahta super miaudel pertama Malaysia. Bulu dia perfect. Outfit dia very demiurgistic. Siap ada crown. Catwalk dia buat juri terpukau. Sebab runway ni King Evian yang punya. Tahniah Ian dah berjaya menawan hati kami semua. Cat Fashion Week. Miau menyala, gaya membara.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
News from the foreign front. The United Nations has officially declared a famine in Gaza, the first in the West Asia, with experts saying 500,000 people are facing catastrophic hunger. On Friday, UN Aid Chief Tom Fletcher said the famine was entirely preventable, saying food could not get through to the Palestinian territory due to the systematic obstruction by the Zionist regime. Israel's foreign ministry later rejected the UN report, claiming that it is based on Hamas lies and continued to deny the existence of a famine in Gaza. The declaration by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC, comes as starvation deaths rise amid Israel's military assault and tight aid restrictions. The IPC warns the crisis could spread beyond Gaza City without urgent action. It noted that 514,000 Palestinians are already experiencing famine, a figure projected to reach 641,000 by the end of September. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz on Friday vowed to open the gates of hell on Gaza City until Hamas accepts Israel's conditions for ending the war, including the release of all hostages and complete disarmament. He warned the city would become like Rafah and Beit Hanun, areas already reduced to rubble during the 22-month offensive. Despite those threats, Israeli forces continued their relentless assault on the enclave, launching fresh strikes that killed at least 47 Palestinians, including women and children, since dawn. The death toll in Gaza has now surged to over 62,000, with more than 157,000 others wounded as the humanitarian crisis deepens. In another development, the United Kingdom, Australia and Japan are among 21 countries that have condemned Israel's plan to build a controversial settlement in the occupied West Bank, calling it a clear violation of international law. In a joint statement on Thursday, the group urged Israel to immediately reverse the decision, warning the project would make a future two-state solution impossible by dividing any prospective Palestinian state and cutting off access to East Jerusalem. The statement said the settlement risks undermining security, fuels further violence and instability, and moves the region further away from peace, while bringing no benefits to the Israelis. The settlement, known as the E1 project, spans 12 square kilometers east of Jerusalem, includes 3,400 new homes, and will cut off much of the West Bank from East Jerusalem while linking Israeli settlements in the area. In other news, Thailand's former Prime Minister Takin Shinawat was cleared on Friday of royal defamation charges, easing one of the biggest threats to his embattled dynasty. The 76-year-old had faced up to 15 years in prison, but a Bangkok court ruled him not guilty of violating the country's strict lèse-majesty laws, which criminalize criticism of King Mahavajiralongkorn and his family. His lawyers said the case was dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Thaksin left court smiling, telling reporters the case was dismissed without further comment. But his dynasty remains under pressure as his daughter, Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawat, faces a crucial court ruling next week that could remove her from office. The charges against Thaksin stem from comments he made a decade ago about the 2014 coup d'etat that toppled his sister Yingluck. Sports now, football and the Super League. Turanganu FC stormed the top of the table with a 5-0 thrashing of Brunei JPMorganChase in Bandar Seri Begawan, Brunei on Friday night. Brazilian forward Careca opened minute. Careca struck again in the second, converting a penalty after a VAR review before Yan Mabela added a stunning solo effort in the 85th. Shahmi Zamri wrapped it up in stoppage time, sealing a memorable win for the Turtles. The result lifts Turanganu to 7 points at the summit, while Brunei remained with just 1 point from 3 matches. On to bowling now. Malaysia may not have had a dream start at the 22nd Asian Youth Championships, but hope remains alive thanks to the country's golden girl. The national contingent earned its first medal through Ratu Ain Izzihar Muhammad Pozi, who clinched bronze in the girls' singles. The 17-year-old national junior kegler knocked down 1,293 pins to finish third at Sunway Mega Lanes, behind Singapore's Hazel Tan Wei Ning, who won gold with 1,328 pins, and South Korea's Paik Yadam, who took silver with 1,297 pins. This follows Kuratu Ain's stunning run of 5 gold medals at the U18 Asian Junior Bowling Championships in Doha. Meanwhile, Adilia Nur Irwan Shazali placed 5th with 1,286 pins, and Adania Muhammad Rizwan was 6th. No Malaysian boys, however, reached the podium in the singles event. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at Chile's Yelcho base on Dumer Island and the Union Glacier Cap in Antarctica, two vital hubs for scientific research and exploration on the frozen continent. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and stay safe.